Regular BBC daytime viewers will recognise these giants of the antiques world who light up our screens with their wisdom and charm.
I've more than doubled my money.
But what sort of things do our experts get up to when they're not on the telly? Well, we're about to find out, as over the course of 1 week, we'll be seeing one pair of plucky heavyweight dealers face a different daily challenge. Some of those challenges will be familiar territory.
Yes.
And some will be pitching our experts into the unknown.
Bang, bang, bang.
They'll be going head-to-head in a battle for profit, showing us how they've risked their own money and reputations by recreating some of their real-life deals.
Profit, profit and more profit.
And if the stakes weren't high enough already, each expert has a favourite charity that will be benefiting from their profits. The challenge to our experts is clear. Put your money where your mouth is. Today's hard-nosed dealers are our very own collectibles gent, Paul the man from Morecambe Hayes, and the radiant First Lady of Antiques, Kate Absolute Bliss. With a father who was an auctioneer, Kate has spent her life surrounded by antiques and is a renowned independent valuer, agent and broker with over 12 years of experience under her belt. Her position as the First Lady of Antiques comes from dispensing expert advice on bargain hunt and flog it.
Will you do 20?
I do 25.
I think that's fair.
Just like his opponent, Paul grew up in the world of antiques. His father was a dealer and our blue-eyed boy has been buying and selling since he was 6 years old.
There is a hallmark on it. I think it dates late 20s, early 30s,
It is,
the Birmingham
yeah.
hallmark. Guilloche enamel, and the enamel is complete.
He's worked as an independent dealer for 10 years and is in a league of his own when it comes to rooting out cash in the attic and turning the trash to cash. On today's thundering episode of Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, Paul and Kate burst out of Blighty to wage the next epic chapter of their antiques war on foreign soil. Our brave knight and our fair lady are sweeping across Europe in their trusty steed. Their destination, the village of Templeux in French-speaking southern Belgium. Our experts are ready and the stakes couldn't be higher. Their own money is on the line, their reputations are at risk, and their favourite charities are wishing them well. So what is today's challenge?
Hey!
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Imagine meeting you here just outside Brussels.
Yeah. Well, I wonder what's in store for us today.
Well, I'm going to have a word with your postman as the first thing. That's for you.
That must be for you then.
Right, OK, ladies
Let
first.
me see. OK. Hello, Kate and Paul. Your challenge today is to spend £500 of your own money on antiques.
Okay.
You must then resell your purchases with the aim of making as much profit as possible. The winner is the presenter who makes the most cash.
You know what, this is getting a bit of a habit, isn't it? Today you must buy all your antiques from, guess what?
Where?
An antique market in Belgium. Isn't that amazing? Well, says there, good luck.
Oh, pain au chocolat.
Beg your pardon, I don't speak French. What's that mean? I'm a Leo.
Templeux is the home of an internationally renowned yearly flea market with more than 2,000 exhibitors spread throughout its streets. Now it must play host to two of Britain's finest, and our two eager beavers are desperate to get cracking. But this market is so huge that having a clear plan of action is going to be crucial.
Well, the market's just up here ahead of me. My strategy here is to buy with specific buyers in the UK in mind. And I'm going to steer clear of anything specifically Belgian, like books that are in a foreign language that I think are going to be difficult to shift back home.
Well, Kate's walking with a purpose, and it looks like she's hoping to steal a march on Paul by getting to the market first. But you have to get up pretty early in the morning to get the better of Morecambe's favourite antiques dealer. And true to form, he's been getting down to business.
Now, my strategy today is to buy some good quality silver items, some good European porcelain and some French clocks. But I haven't seen any just yet, but it's a massive place, this, you never know.
Now, don't forget our experts can spend up to £500 of their own money. And with battle begun, they're both quick to try and put their strategies into practice.
At the moment, there seems to be a lot of modern things around here, so I'm going to keep going a bit further, see if I can find some more genuine antiques.
The aim of today's game is to find pieces which will make the most profit back in Blighty. And with the pressure on to strike the first blow, they're both scouring the market in search of the best deals. There's no shortage of stalls and merchandise to trawl through, and Paul's the first to spot something. Unless my eyes deceive me, though, it's not silver, it's not a clock, and it's most certainly not porcelain.
Now then, this is the way to travel. I'm sure this must be Kate's, actually. How posh is that? It dates probably about 1900, 1910, and it would have been carried by your servants on board these wonderful ocean liners of the day. And if you have a look inside here, look at that, isn't that beautiful? You've got all the fitments, you can put all your shoes and your clothes in the bottom there. And it's in relatively good condition. Don't forget, this would have been on board a boat possibly for months at a time. So it's good. One thing to look for with these are labels. Any of these very good manufacturers is what you look for. People like Louis Vuitton, Chanel, you know, the very expensive ones, obviously very expensive even today. This one is 800 euros, which is about 500 pounds. It's a great example, but it's a bit much for me. But Kate might be interested, you never know.
Well, it might be a fabulous travel case, but Kate is far too canny to waste time looking at things that would eat up her entire budget. Isn't she?
C'est combien?
750.
750 euros. That's about 600, over 600 pounds. So I haven't got enough money. Shame.
Kate's plan is to track down items that she knows she's got buyers for back at home, including this old leather armchair, which she reckons could be a bit of a moneymaker.
Bonjour, monsieur. C'est combien?
150.
150. The best price?
100. On va dire 140.
140, oui. This is quite a nice Art Deco style leather chair. It's quite square in its proportions, but there's quite a lot of damage on it. The gentleman wants 140 euros, which is, well, probably about 120 pounds. So with the work that I'd have to do on it, it's quite a lot of money. I'll think about that one.
Kate's business brain is ticking away like crazy. If there's not enough profit to be made, she won't be parting with her cash. But whilst she's been checking out the chair, it looks like Paul's been trying to do his first deal of the day. And despite not paying attention during his French lessons at school, he's decided to give it a go anyway.
25 euros, monsieur.
25, 25.
C'est sous la napoléonienne, hein?
Yeah.
La République Napoléon.
Esquire, Napoleonic.
Well, you do have to admire our blue-eyed boy's pluck, but it seems that something is getting lost in translation here.
Il est marqué, hein? L'an 13 de la République française.
Yes. Yeah, speaking of lost, Kate's struggling to find the stalls that will have the kind of things that she's looking for.
So where do we go from here?
And not being helped by the map, she decides to try and get a little local knowledge.
Vous êtes ici.
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 Are there any more stalls up here? Any more? Les brocantes?
Oui, oui.
I think there are a few more stalls up here. I don't know whether to risk it. I haven't seen much down there, so I think we'll journey on.
So, whilst Kate continues her hunt for items she can sell back home, Paul is still trying to seal a deal for his French letter.
Est-ce que Esquire année?
1789. Ça, c'est la République.
Ah, OK. Napoleon the first?
Voilà. Donc voilà les...
Ventre.
S'il vous plaît.
25 euros.
25 euros. Et alors, c'est moi, bien pris? 20 euros?
Combien?
20 euros?
20 euros.
Allez, 22.
22, 22. OK, merci.
Oui?
Merci beaucoup. Oh, now that I think I found something very interesting. It's an ephemeral item, it's an old letter. And my French isn't brilliant, but I seem to get the gist of the whole thing. It relates to Napoleon, no doubt. And I did ask the lady exactly what year this was done, and she thought about 1789. So it's very early, it's not quite at the time of the battles of Waterloo and so on. But what took my fancy too, you've got this wonderful calligraphy here. The very first word is Napoleon on the top. I'll have to get the rest translated, but it does seem to relate to an official bureau of the République Française. So what a fantastic item. I'm going to get this translated, and it cost me 22 euros, which is about £16.
Yes, you might have made your first buy, Mr. Hayes, but it's no time to rest on your laurels, as it looks as though Kate has finally found the stalls she's been searching for. She's trying to buy some sheet music, and the stall owner is asking about £47 for it. Kate is trying valiantly to knock him down to about £30.
Pour moi. Pour moi.
Miss Bliss is not a woman to walk away from a deal in any language without a fight.
I'm just checking my prices. My maths isn't very good. So, okay? Aha! We have a deal. So, we have agreed €45.
That's about £35 sterling, nearer to the £30 mark that Kate was aiming for.
Well, I have actually bought something. Take a look at this. Now, it may not look very much in 2 carrier bags, but what I have bought is a whole pile of sheet music. Now, I have a buyer in mind. I'm following my strategy. I've got quite a variety of music here, some for alto sax, some for guitar, some for piano, a bit of Grieg there. And my buyer back home sometimes gets about £1 a sheet for this. So if I can get him to give me £50, I'm in profit.
And profit is the name of the game. So now the early salvos in this Belgian battle have been fired, it's time to find out how our 2 soldiers of fortune are faring. Both Paul and Kate had a kitty of up to £500. So far, Paul has shelled out £17, meaning he's still got £483 left in his war chest. He's been outflanked by Kate, though, because she spent £35, leaving her with £465 worth of purchasing ammunition. With both our warriors keeping their powder dry so far, there's still all to play for. But it looks as though Paul has decided to take another gamble. But it's not a clock, it isn't made of silver, and it's not porcelain.
Bonjour, monsieur. C'est combien l'heure?
Pardon?
C'est combien? Oui, this
200.
200. And it work? Does it work?
€200 is a big chunk of Paul's budget. And whilst thinking about spending that amount of money on an antique horse racing game isn't a bad idea, it seems that the prices at this market are giving both our contenders pause for thought.
Fantastic.
Good, eh?
Yeah, yeah.
After thinking long
Je pense pour une minute. Très bien, très bien.
and hard, Paul's decided to take the plunge and gone back for another look at the antique toy.
Now, I found a really unusual item here. This one dates probably about 1920, and it's a horse racing game. I'm not sure of the manufacturer. It looks like it could be a homemade item, but it does pay really to have a chat to the stallholder if you can. It pays to know a bit of French. But what I've worked out is that he's willing to let me have this for €175, which translates about £140. And the interesting thing is, when I walked past before, it was twice that price. So obviously he wants to sell the item, I want to buy it. At 140 quid, I think it's a good bet. Actually, it's an odds-on favourite. OK, I shall... je peux acheter, s'il vous plaît.
S'il vous plaît?
I will buy, yes. Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup.
He might have the looks of an angel, but Mr. Morecambe is also devilishly cunning. He slashed the price of the antique horse racing game and galloped into the lead. But his rival is champing at the bit to do a deal of her own and get back into the running.
C'est combien?
80.
So the dealer wants €80. Can Kate take a bite out of the asking price?
Cadeau.
Cadeau pour moi?
Cadeau. 90 euros cadeau.
He's saying it would make a good present. I was hoping he would give it to her as a present to me, but no.
Well, if you don't ask, you don't get. And although the stallholder doesn't want to give it away, Kate's determined to drive the price of the toy down.
Well, I'm going to offer £65, which is about €75. I'm not going to pay any more than that.
OK.
Merci beaucoup.
Kate's only managed to get a few pounds knocked off, but she still bought the toy instead of walking away.
Merci beaucoup. Au revoir.
Time to explain yourself, Miss Bliss.
Well, I've just found myself a furry friend. Bought for €75, which is about £65. He's not in too bad a shape. You can see that this leg is a little bit loose on the base here, but I think a little bit of glue would sort that out. And he might have had teeth just here, I think, and they're missing, but I don't mind too much because I think he looks fairly fierce enough. He's got a little bit of a stare on him, but apart from that, the material is actually really still in pretty good condition. Now, the gentleman on the stall thought it was about 1930s. I think it's probably a little bit later. It might be 50s, but I need to do a little bit more research back home on this. I think the place to pitch this to get the most profit would be to a toy specialist. So fingers crossed that I haven't bought a white elephant here. No, it's definitely a fierce leopard. Let's hope he can bring me some profit.
So, having tracked down her second buy of the day, Kate's narrowed the gap on Paul and is hoping that her next buy will help her to land a knockout blow on Morecambe's favourite son.
What's your very best? 20. 16? Oh, merci. Merci. Voilà. 16 euros, which is about 10, 12 pounds, something like that.
This bout could go either way.
Well, Paul, I hope you're ready for a really good fight because, as they say, the gloves are off.
Will it be gallant Mr. Hayes or the Queen of Antiques who lands the knockout blow?
Oh, no then. Do you know, I found it quite difficult here today. It's a bit like going into battle. And talking of which, I found these two bicorn hats. And these would have belonged to a naval captain sometime in the 19th century, so I'm quite excited about them, actually. One snag, this one's from Belgium, and it says Brussels in the bottom. This one, on the other hand, is unmarked. And I've been told, as I've been walking around, that this one is actually French. Now, if this turns out to be early 19th century French, that's exactly the golden period you want to find these hats. They've cost me about £128 for the pair. And then along with that, on the same stall, I found a beautiful little bowl to do with Napoleon as well, which commemorates one of the battles. But as regards profit, I mean, who knows? But there's one thing for certain, it's not going to be tonight, Josephine.
Well, Paul might be happy with his latest buys, but so far, with the exception of the small Napoleonic dish, his strategy of buying silver, continental clocks and porcelain seems to have gone right out the window. But he is at least spending his money. Don't forget, our two experts can spend up to £500 of their own money. Thanks to his latest successes, Mr. Hayes has partied with £296, leaving him with £204 still to spend. His arch-rival, Miss Bliss, has spent just £113, so she's still got £387 left in her kitty. Mr. Morecambe might be leading the way, but he's strayed a long way from his strategy of buying silver, clocks and continental porcelain. He's not the only one to have left his comfort zone, though, because one might suspect that Kate doesn't know too many boxers to sell her gloves to, but you never know. And with the clock now ticking on today's market, the pressure is mounting on Miss Bliss to splash the cash.
1, 5, 0.
Est-ce que je peux regarder, s'il vous plaît? Now, the thing with parasols is that the silk often perishes. I'm just going to open it out and check it out. It's a little bit faded on the top here, but the condition, actually, there are no bad holes. It's got a nice ivory handle. So the lady is asking €150, which is about £130, and that's way too much for me. I'd like to see this at perhaps £80 to let me make a profit selling it back home.
Well, to get the parasol for £80, Miss Bliss has to negotiate a discount of almost 40%. Good luck, Kate. I think you're going to need it.
I say this, the lady says this. Je pense. Je pense. Merci beaucoup.
Not even close. The stallholder only dropped her price by a few pounds, and Kate is leaving empty-handed. Paul is also determined to win today's contest. With Kate struggling to find the right items for the right price, he's scouring the market trying to drive home his advantage.
Now then, I think Kate's missed this lot here. There's some musical instruments and there's a violin, and I think I found a bargain here. Look at that. It says in the side here, it says Antonius Stradivarius. Do you think it's a real one? It's €125. I very much doubt it. But a great talking point, though. You never know. I think it's a bit of a fiddle.
With Paul hard at it, Miss Bliss needs to part with her money, and fast, if she's to have any chance of winning today's contest. Right now, she's locked in negotiations for something that she hopes will be an expert's best friend.
So combien?
20.
20 euro.
Il est gentil. Gentil.
The lady's saying there he's very good-natured. She's asking 20 euros, which isn't a lot of money, but I'm just wondering who I'm going to sell it to back home. I don't know anybody who's got a Dutch hand. 10 euro?
Non.
10? No. 15? Quel âge?
50 ans.
Oui.
50 ans.
Oh, okay. She thinks it's about 50 years old. Maybe. Peut-être 12. I'm offering her 12 euros.
Oui.
12?
Allez, OK.
OK. Merci beaucoup. 12. 10. Et 2.
OK.
Voilà.
Merci.
Look what I found. Well, it's not what I was intending to buy at all. It just goes to show you have to come to these fairs with an open mind. Because look at him. I think he's actually really well modelled. He's impressed underneath Made in Italy on his little paw there. And animals are really good sellers. He's not chipped or cracked and pretty realistic, I think. So all I need now is to find somebody who is bonkers about Dachshunds.
With time beginning to run out, it seems that Kate, just like her northern rival, is straying away from her strategy. She was determined to buy things that she knew she had buyers for back at home. But with the pressure mounting, she's having to rely more on her finely tuned instincts.
I'm offering 30 euros, but they say that they paid 45. C'est Belgique?
This?
Oui.
American.
American.
Yes.
Oui. Est-ce que nous pouvons... Excusez-moi? I'm just going to call him over because he seems to be the one to negotiate with. 35? Oui, 35? OK, c'est OK? Oui? Merci. Merci beaucoup, monsieur. Merci. Well, it'll keep the rain off for a bit.
That's a very fetching look for the First Lady of Antiques, but with almost £300 left in her kitty and the clock ticking towards the end of today's market, this is no time to be posing for the cameras, Miss Bliss. You need to hit the streets to find some final deals. She might be searching high and low, but Mr. Morecambe is also on the hunt, and the race is on to uncover a hidden gem that could swing this contest either way. With both experts having so much left in their kitties, one big last-minute deal could be the difference between victory and defeat. But although Kate desperately needs to spend her cash,
55.
it's the blue-eyed boy who's pinned down another buy.
For two. 35 for two. Merci beaucoup. Merci. Au revoir. Well, now I've sat down, I can actually tell you about these. I think these are fantastic. They're very 1960s, very retro. And this one in particular, this Rock Makers, reminds me of those B movies which had all the blob and the monsters from outer space. But these are actually backplates from the pinball machines, if you imagine the way the machine actually goes. They've cost me €35, which I think is about £28, which I think is an absolute bargain. What I'm hoping to do, if we have time, is to make them into light fittings, to put a box at the back with some lights in there, illuminate on the wall. They look fantastic, the instant retro feel. And you know what, if I sell these well, that'll make me the pinball wizard.
Well, dodgy puns aside, the pinball displays are a fantastic way for Paul to finish the day. And with today's Battle of the Belge at an end, it's time to find out who is today's valiant victor and who's our wounded warrior. Kate may have made a late charge, but she's still only spent £152.50 of her £500 kitty, leaving a whopping £347.50 unspent. If she wants to win today's challenge, she's going to have to make a big profit on the things she's bought, because Paul's parted with more than double the amount Miss Bliss has spent and is now in pole position to claim victory. He might be the favourite to win, but Kate's not about to throw the towel in without a fight. And before they head back across the channel to sell their wares for as much profit as possible, our experts are keen to check out what their opponent has spent their money on.
Hey!
Hey, how have you got on?
All right, how have you got on first? Well, I see you bought a boxer dog.
Well, come and meet my furry friends.
All right.
Do you know, I had a really slow start to the day. I wandered around and I couldn't see anything, and then it rained.
Yes.
And then suddenly, I think some people went home, and I started looking a bit more closely, and I started buying things.
Right.
So we've got a furry leopard.
Yes, he's good.
We've got a dachshund.
Okay.
Italian pottery, but not too much money.
Okay,
and
good.
then what do you think about these?
Those are great,
Ready
actually.
for a
Yeah.
fight?
Yeah. Have you signed by anybody, or did you?
Well, they've got the manufacturer's mark here.
All right.
They
Okay.
fit me quite well, actually. So,
I won't ask you to handle this glass plate here. No, thank you very much.
but I also bought a great big job lot of music here.
Okay.
Just sheet music, doesn't look very much, but I know somebody back home who really sells this stuff, and it flies out of the shop.
Oh, great.
So I'm hoping he might be interested.
Well, best of luck with that. Well, you made mine look a bit sad, actually. I bought 2 bike-on hats. These are quite cool, aren't
Did
they?
you buy them all at the same place?
No, I bought these 2 off one gentleman.
Yeah.
Together with a Napoleon dish. But the first one I saw was this, look at this. 1789, and it's a letter. The opening word is Napoleon. And then it says something, the République Française.
Uh-huh.
And it's signed...
Par la grâce de Dieu. That's by the grace of God, isn't it?
Oh, there you are, you see.
That's all I can tell.
You might be able to translate this over a cup of tea later. And then the last thing I bought were 2 of these. I thought these are quite cool.
Now, what are these?
These are off a pinball machine, can you tell?
Oh, OK.
Aren't they great?
I like a suit.
Yeah. A bit retro, there's a phone number on the back of that one,
Yeah.
so that's great.
Looks good.
So there you are. So, are you ready to go back to...
Fab. Do you know what I am? I need a good English cup of tea.
I don't blame you. Come on,
Okay.
off we go. Shut this door. Ugh. Come on, kettle's on.
Our dueling duo have scoured every inch of this Belgian market to root out their plunder. Absolute Bliss will be taking home some sheet music, a toy cheetah on wheels, some 1950s leather boxing gloves, a China Dachshund dog, and an American military hat. Mr. Morecambe, meanwhile, will be aiming to cash in on a Napoleonic letter, an antique French horse game, 2 bicorn hats, a commemorative China Napoleonic bowl, and some 1950s American pinball displays. So, after the fiercely fought Battle of Belgium, our 2 intrepid experts have returned to Blighty to prepare for the second part of today's challenge. The aim now is to sell on the spoils of war to make as much profit as possible for their charities, and the winner will be the expert who makes the most cash, regardless of how much they spent. Mr. Morecambe spent £319.50 on 5 items at the Belgian market. Cautious Kate only splashed out £152.50, but she also managed to buy 5 items. So this epic contest will ultimately be decided on who bought most wisely and who can get the best possible prices for their items.
OK, I'm back from the foreign market. Things went well. I think I've actually bought quite well. I bought 2 Napoleon hats, or bicorn hats is the correct term. A letter from France, but it's Napoleonic, which is quite good. One of the bicorn hats is French. So I think what I'll do, I'll put that hat and the letter together and send that to a specialist military sale, and there's one coming up very shortly. And the horse racing game. Yes, that's a bit of fun, isn't it? Surely I can find somebody who likes the horses, or perhaps a toy shop or something for that one. But the 2 items I'm really excited about are the 2 backs of the pinball machines. Because I live at the seaside, I've grown up at the amusement arcades. So hopefully I can find a buyer here that would be interested in those. But I might have to have them framed up first, and of course that adds to the cost.
With both our experts champing at the bit to put their expertise and their contacts to the test, the race is on to make the first sale and bank the first cash. They might be TV's loveliest experts, the lady and gentleman of all things antiquated, but when it comes to this fight, the gloves are off. So, 2 blonde bombshells, but only one of them will be going off with a big bang today. The other will be going off with their tail between their legs. This battle is one that looks likely to be hotly contested. Back home in Morecambe, the suave Mr. Hayes is suited and booted, ready for action and fizzing with anticipation.
I had a fantastic time in Belgium. I bought these wonderful pinball machine backs. They look great, and I've had them framed, and I'm very, very pleased with the actual framer who's done a wonderful job of these. I do live in a seaside town, and seaside towns are famous for ice creams. and amusement arcades. And I think there's going to be lots of people who want to buy into this retro market, have them in one of the amusement arcades here, and hopefully get a profit on them. Now, bearing in mind, I've actually spent £100 on the frames. So these stand me now at £150. Yes. You think of what I'm thinking? I think this one's Kate's to you. Right, come on, let's have a go.
You have a go, Paul. And that twinkle in those baby blues tells us that despite what you're saying, you're not about to surrender just yet. Within no time, Morecambe's boy wonder is pounding the local pavements.
OK, wish me luck.
That's the old one.
Ah, it is, yeah. OK, I'll see you later. Ta-ra. Oh, well, he really liked them, but there's no room for them. I believe that.
But it'll take more than a rejection.
I think it might be a bit like selling snow to the Eskimos. I think they've probably already got quite a lot of old pinball machines kicking around you.
Or two.
I feel like one of those people with an A-board on, you know. Come and spend money with me.
To dim the ball of bright-eyed enthusiasm that is Paul Hayes.
Hello. Here we are. Right, let's try this one. Never mind. Perseverance, that's what we need.
180 miles away, Bombshell Bliss has landed. And although she's as upbeat as ever, make no mistake, she means business.
Well, I've come to Hay-on-Wye, which is a really pretty market town right on the River Wye and on my doorstep, and it's purported to be the largest centre of booksellers in the world. So I've come to the right place to try and sell my sheet music. Now, I bought this, actually, with this chap in mind, the gentleman who owns the Hay-on-Wye booksellers, because I know he specialises in sheet music. I've spoken to him on the phone. I'm just hoping we can agree a good price.
Get in there and work your magic then, Kate.
Ah, hello there. You must be Mike. Hi,
That's
I'm Kate.
right.
How do you do? We spoke on the phone and I told you about all this sheet music I've got.
Yeah.
It's quite heavy, actually.
Wow, there's stacks of it. The poor man won't know where to start.
Yeah. Shall I have a quick...
Yeah, have a quick leaf through. I mean, what I've got is some for alto sax.
Yeah.
In fact, I think there's quite a lot for saxophone. And then we've got some for guitar, I know.
Yeah.
And... that's more alto sax, some piano music, trombone. It's mostly in pretty good condition. As you can see, you know, that it's not badly foxed or anything. No. And it's mostly, you know, sheets of 2 or 3 things, songs and various different tunes. And quite a range of standard, I think.
Yeah. Did you have a rough idea what sort of...
Well, I was hoping for about £75 for the lot. How does that sound?
I'll just have a quick look at what else is...
There we go.
Uh-oh,
That's tenor,
he's
single,
not
tenor
answering.
sax. How would you sell it? Would you sell it in a sort of a job lot of trombone music, or would you sell it by the sheet?
By the sheet, generally.
Would you?
Yeah.
Kate, building up a rapport here. She paid about £35 for the music, but will she get her £75 asking price? And back in Morecambe, how goes it for Mr. Hayes?
Now then, no joy as yet, but every time I come back to Morecambe, we always love to have an ice cream. So do you want to join me for one? Come on, I'll even buy you a flake.
An ice cream? A flake? This is hardly keeping your eye on the ball, Paul.
A rum and raisin and a raspberry ripple, please. Thank you very much.
You enjoying that, Paul?
Fabulous. So where do we go next? Let's try Blackpool.
So refreshed and revitalised, Paul returns to work.
No, it's about 50 quid, something like that. Right, I'm going to go out again. Nice to meet you, mate. Thank you very much.
Oh dear, another failure.
Now then, which way, madam? Which way? That way. OK, come on, I'll follow you. I don't think I'm getting anywhere, do you, really? But God loves a tryer, so let's carry on.
Back in Hay-on-Wye, Kate is on tenterhooks to see whether she'll get the £75 she wants for her sheet music.
But looking for it, it all seems quite clean. The figure I was thinking was more sort of £50.
Really?
Yeah.
Could you go to 60?
Yeah, go on.
Could you?
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, that would be brilliant.
Brilliant.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much indeed.
Shall I pay you for it now? And
That would be super, yeah. Have you got cash?
yeah.
Even better.
Oh, my word, Kate has a sale. Remember, Kate paid £35 for her sheet music and she sold it for £60. So, with a profit of £25, she's off to a cracking start. When it comes to beating Paul Hayes, Miss Bliss is like an Exocet missile. With one sail under her belt, she's armed with her toy cheetah on wheels and she's speeding her way round to one of her old contacts.
Hi, Laura.
Oh, hi, Kate. How are
I haven't
you?
seen you for ages.
How are you getting on?
Looks great.
Thank
Got all
you.
sorts of
I
things
know,
in here.
It's good fun.
I bought you a little something. What do you think of him?
I think he's rather sweet. I've never quite seen anything like him. I think he's very unusual. Is he named or has he got any labels on him?
Well, I've looked at him really carefully and I can't see anything, unfortunately. It's a shame he hasn't got a little label on him.
Where did you buy him?
I actually bought him abroad.
Oh, did you?
Near Brussels,
Gosh.
Laura, yeah.
Oh, no wonder I haven't seen one like it before.
Exactly,
Obviously,
but...
maybe it's not English.
Perhaps, yeah. The stallholder sold it to me as 30s, but I think he's probably a bit later.
I would think he was more, perhaps late 40s, 50s, simply because of the wood and the wheels. And he's in good condition, isn't
Well,
he?
he's not bad, is he? This little ear has slightly come unstitched here,
Oh,
but
yeah,
there's
but
nothing
it's
too
nothing
much
too
to worry
much,
about.
is it?
And I think one of the legs, yes, here,
is a little bit
is a
loose
little bit
there.
loose, but I think just a little bit of glue would sort that
really,
out.
there's no stuffing coming out. He's super. He's a
Well,
lovely little chap, isn't he?
I thought you might like
Yeah,
him.
I do like him.
Oh, this is looking promising. Remember, Kate bought the cheetah for £65. But what kind of profit will she dare to aim for?
I'm looking for about £175 for him. I do think he's quite unusual and you're not going to find another one in a hurry. What do you think?
Well, a bit steep. I mean, what about 150?
OK, that sounds perfect.
And I think he'll fit in very well here, won't he?
Look at that, another sale, and what a profit! £85 wings its way into the Bliss profit pot.
Well, I thought Laura might help me out. She always buys really interesting stuff. In fact, when I've got a bit more time, I'm going to nip back and have more of a rummage in her shop. Well, that's got rid of Charlie Cheetah. I think I really am going to miss him, actually, and I know my daughter's going to.
Well, these sacrifices have to be made, Kate, because Mr. Hayes is not standing still. He's determined to get an explosive first sale with his pinball displays and is trying a slightly different tack.
Now then, here we are. There's a saying in this business, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And I've come to one of the main dealers and suppliers of fruit machines and amusement items in the area, mate of mine, Lee. I've sent him a photograph of them, so he might be able to give a bit of information about them, and hopefully we can sell them at a profit, all for a good cause. So come and follow me.
Yes, that chirpy demeanour hides a focused and determined mind. But will our blue-eyed boy get the result he needs to keep up with his competition?
Now then, Lee, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Now these are
Long
these
time no
pinball
see.
sheets. Long time no see as well.
Right, it's quite noisy in here. Should we go outside?
Yeah, go on, let's have a quick look.
Bit more picturesque. so to
Exactly,
speak.
yeah. Go on then. So the people who buy these things, and are they people like yourself that remember these machines, or are they people look?
yes.
Because I think this is very scientific. I mean,
Yes, yeah.
sci-fi. You know?
The pin table industry, Bally in particular, 1963, probably.
And were they an English company? Or?
No, they were an American-based company. They merged with Williams, which is another major pinball manufacturer of the times.
Okay.
People that collect pinballs use them for, like you see, in movies. So
Are there any particular movie-based themes that to go
every
for?
major movie at
Right.
some point ended up as a pinball. I
Right.
mean, obviously Star Wars is the most popular, still very well collected to this day.
How did they end up then? Because I bought these just as sheets of glass. I mean, how did they get into that sort of state? I mean,
The older pin tables, after they've been battered, they tend to get scrapped, and we always used to keep what we call the backflash.
That's a backflash.
That's a backflash of the
Right.
pin table, rather than everything else that used to get scrapped. It's a crying shame, really. But the old Bally stuff is one of the old classics. Yes.
Oh right, so things are looking
Yeah.
up then. So are these the sort of thing you would love to have in your executive offices?
Executive offices, yeah, I wish. My small box room. To be honest with you, yes. I mean, we do collect things like I do have things very similar to this.
Yes, this is good news for Paul. But can he secure a sale? Remember, he bought those pinball sheets for £24.
I bought them originally, but the frames have cost me about £100 to do.
Okay.
So that was quite an expensive thing.
Right.
So I am looking for about £200 from there.
I don't see a problem with that at all. I think that's a very fair price. It's the sort of price that you would easily get, particularly when they've been presented.
Nicely presented.
Like this, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fabulous.
£200, yes.
Thank you very much, Lee.
Oh, yes, he's done it. Mr. Morecambe is on the scoreboard. So, taking off the £100 Paul spent on framing the sheets, he's made a cracking profit of £76.
Let's go.
This is shaping up to be an explosive clash. Kate sold 2 items and she's banked £110 of profit. After a desperate start, Paul sold his pinball sheets and his profit pot stands at £76. So Paul's got some catching up to do. He was ahead of Kate in the buying stakes, but Miss Bliss has exploded out of the traps and is belting ahead on the selling. Paul needs something big, and he needs it fast.
Now then, do you remember this wonderful game that we got in Belgium? Well, I'm here today to find out exactly how to play it, and more importantly, if I can sell it. And I come to the Toys of Yesteryear, which is in the Peak District, and it's a museum with big toys and small toys like this. And let's see how we get on. Now then, wow, look at this place. Now then, Steve, is it Steve?
Paul, yes, good morning.
I'm really pleased to meet you, thank you very much.
I'm glad you came.
Hey, how long have you been collecting all this then?
About a fortnight now.
About a fortnight?
28, 29 years.
But I don't think either of us can remember this one. I mean,
this is fantastic.
Do you like that? Now, I sent you a picture of it. It's called a jeu de corde. Do you know what that actually translates? Have you?
Well, the French meaning is basically a racing game.
OK. And how does it work? Because my lads are fascinated with the word but there. What does that actually... Is that like a finishing post?
I think it must mean either end or finish.
Right. OK.
So, presumably you fiddled with this...
Yeah, you turn the handle. It wants a bit of attention, I think, but you turn the handle. Yeah. And then how do they win? Because they don't seem to stop at the same time.
No, you've actually got one of the better ones here, because usually they're either 1 track, 2 tracks, but here you've got the 3.
Oh, right.
So you've actually got one of the nicer ones.
OK.
And as you've seen, all the horses will spin at different rates.
Yep.
On each of the...
OK, so you place your bets in the middle here, I could take it.
That's right, yeah.
Right, OK.
Pop your bets in there, try and remember which horse you bet on.
And how do you know which one's won?
Now, I'm pretty sure that the winner is the one that finishes nearest to the post.
Oh, that's how it works. So if you've got as near as you can to that particular post,
that's
so
right.
in this case...
And if your horse has stopped first, you've got to wait for the others to stop before you know whether you've won.
And that's where the tension is, so you're waiting for the last ones to finish and see where they end up. Oh, what a fascinating game.
And this, I mean, you're talking about, what, 1910, 1920s here, I would think.
Wow.
2 or 3 companies that I've heard of made these, probably from as early as 1890.
Really?
Yeah.
Did they make other versions of this as well?
There were some later motorbike versions.
Oh, right, OK.
But the earliest one, and probably the rarest version, are the airplane versions. So
wow.
You've got exactly the same system, but you've got planes that are flying around.
And maybe biplanes as well, they wouldn't be...
Yeah.
Would it still have an interest in your collection?
Oh, I'd love to have it, yeah.
Really?
This is all looking very positive. Remember, Paul paid £139 for the game in Belgium.
I would be happy to offer you $250 for it.
That is remarkable. Steve has cut straight to the point and offered Paul an incredible £250 for the game. Paul must be delighted. He didn't even have to barter.
Well, it's lovely to meet someone like yourself who just has a real passion for the whole subject.
Thank you.
So I think £250 is really
You're happy with that?
acceptable.
I'm happy with that, yeah.
I think it's like the horse racing game. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. It's a game of chance.
It is.
You'll enjoy it. Would you have it for the children to play with, or did you?
Certainly wouldn't let them play with it unsupervised, but I'd love to be able to show them. So, which is what we do here on the demo table
here. Oh, well, that's smashing. That's lovely. That sounds a good deal to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, I must admit, while I'm here, I'm a great Chitty Chitty Bang Bang fan. Can I go and have a look at it?
You certainly can.
Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. That Paul is like a big kid at heart. Yes, and whilst Paul relives a childhood fantasy, Miss Bliss is looking for a big hit of her own.
Well, I'm off to see Chris. He's one of the main trainers at the Empire Bristol Boxing Cup. And I'm hoping he's going to take a shine to my gloves. The funny thing is, though, this gym is in an old church.
So, how is Kate going to secure her sale? Kate needs to keep ahead in today's game and has decided to impress her potential buyer with some nifty moves. But will her fancy fighting have proved that she means serious business? Fresh from the ring, our antiques prize fighter is circling for another knockout on profit.
I talked to you on the phone about these boxing gloves.
Yes, that's right. Most interesting.
Well, those look the real thing for what you need today, obviously.
Yes, these are the real Mackay.
Yeah. Well, these, I guess, are what you used about 50 years ago.
Oh, yes, definitely.
I would think they're 50s, perhaps a little bit later, and they have got the name here, Ruckanor, and of course they're really well-known sports specialist manufacturers, aren't they?
Yes, they're actually still manufacturing now.
And you've got Pakistan there. Now, I guess the leather might have come from Pakistan as well,
yes,
and that's where they were made.
Very soft leather. And also these are 10-ounce gloves, so that would make them definitely sparring gloves, because in the old days they used to be 6-ounce and 8-ounce.
So when you say sparring, as opposed to what? What do you mean by sparring?
They wouldn't actually be contest gloves, they would be sparring gloves. But yes, they're very, very nice.
So for training?
For training, yes.
So how have these differed from gloves that you have today, from yours there?
Well, straight away the thing is, now we have the thumb is attached, because in the old days they could thumb you in the eye, which was an old trick.
That's not very nice.
It's a tough game.
So make me an offer. What do you think?
An offer for those gloves? £50, would you... How would you think of that?
Yeah, it's a good start, but Kate's a fighter.
So I was wondering if you could add a little bit more.
OK, well, I'm a Bristol boy and I'm representing the West Country, so £100.
Oh,
How
Chris,
about that?
£100, fantastic. That's great.
My goodness me, what about that for a winning blow?
Well, how about that? What a knockout result. I bought those gloves for about £13 and I've just sold them for £100. That's £87 profit. Fantastic. Well, Paul, I've had a bit of training now. You don't want to cross me.
If I was that blue-eyed boy, I'd be worried. Kate only spent half what he did in Belgium, but she is raking in all the profit. How will Mr. Hayes cope with the pressure?
So, it's the moment of truth now. Cast your minds back. Do you remember that bicorn hat and that French letter? Well, I brought them along to a military specialist here in Stone in Staffordshire. And he's going to have an auction here today, and hopefully he's going to sell items really well. I put them both together in the same lot, but let's see if we can find out some information about them, and let's see how they get on. So, fingers crossed.
So Paul's aim is to sell one of his Napoleonic hats together with his framed Napoleonic letter in one lot. But what are his chances?
Now, Bernard.
Hi, Paul.
It's lovely to see you again. Are you well?
Not too bad. Long time since we've seen you.
Exactly, yeah, but I see you're busy as ever. I mean, what's the market like for all this militaria now, is it?
Collectibles, very sought after, and thank goodness, nice and busy. Yeah.
And what about items like mine? I mean, obviously,
well,
do you get many bicorn hats? I mean,
we don't get many French hats here, but the letter's really interesting. Just imagine what was happening to Europe at that time.
Well, exactly, yeah. What I liked about it, though, obviously the first opening line is Napoleon by the grace of God, but on the back it says in the 13th year of the Revolution, which I take it would be 1802. 1802. Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah. I mean, just think, Nelson was still alive, Waterloo was yet to be fought.
That's it.
So, yeah, the letter's really, really interesting.
Well, that's smashing, Bernard.
Good to see you.
I shall watch and see what happens.
See you later.
Thank you very much. So, OK, here we go. So the auctioneer is actually taking a break into the auction to make sure that there's lots of people here ready to bid. So, bearing in mind, we're looking for about £100. So let's see how we get on.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now going to sell lot number 276. French 19th century officer's bicorn hat, accompanied by an interesting letter written in the 13th year of the Revolution, 1802. We can start this at £80.
80, we're in. Come on.
Thank you, 90,
Excellent.
100, 110, 120, 130.
Well, Paul's off to a great start. The bidding is up to £130, which is about what he paid for the items. But will it go any higher and push our golden boy into profit? Meanwhile, Miss Bliss is back in Hay-on-Wye and she's chasing another sale.
This is where the old curiosity shop is. Now, this is run by a couple of friends of mine, Carol and Stuart, and they deal in all sorts of antiques, but particularly vintage costume and military hats. Let's see if they're in.
They might be old friends, Kate, but this is business and you've still got to put in the sales work.
Hey, Carol.
Hi, lovely to see you. I know, I was waiting for you to come up for ages.
I'll tell you why I've come, to show you this, because I thought this was about up your street. What do you think?
Oh, that's gorgeous, Kate.
You like it?
Yeah.
I noticed you've got quite a bit of military. You've got quite a few military hats up there, haven't you?
Yeah.
Well, that's a nice one as well, up there.
Yes.
All flattery works wonders, Kate.
Well, and of course I've got a gentleman that literally collects lovely hats like this.
Really? Military ones?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty smart one
Yeah.
because you've got the lovely oak leaves here, lovely pale blue band with all the gold braid, and I'm told it's American. I think it's quite a high rank.
Yeah, it's a lovely felt as well.
It is, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, that's lovely.
I tried it on, but it's a bit too big for me.
Oh, right.
This all sounds very promising for Kate, but it's profit that matters.
Could you do 50 on it?
Yeah.
Could you?
Yeah.
That was easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, my word, Miss Bliss gets her asking price without a second's hesitation. Remember, she bought the hat for £30 and she sold it for 50, giving her another £20 of profit. Back at the auction, Paul's on tenterhooks to see whether the bidding on his Napoleonic hat and letter will go above the price he paid for them, £130.
10, 120, 130, 140, 150. Go on, sir, go 150. 150, do I see 160 now? 160.
Oh, and he's got 160.
Are we all done? Are we all done?
Well, that's fantastic.
Oh, yes, Paul had a real result there.
Well, that was absolutely fantastic. I think we definitely were in the right place here today. The hammer price for the bicorn hat and the letter was £160.
So £160 for the letter and the hat, netting Paul a princely profit of £33. He's got to be happy with that. What an incredible battle this is turning out to be. The blonde bombshells are neck and neck, and it's anyone's game, so their final sales will be the deciders. One thing is for sure, Absolute Bliss is totally focused.
I'm still in Hay on Wye, and I've just got Daphne the Dachshund out of the car, and I'm taking her for a little stroll down to the antiques market here. Now, this is a great antique centre right in the middle of Hay. It's got 17 shops all under one roof on 2 floors, and I'm sure I'm going to find somebody who's going to take a fancy to my hound here. After all, she's cheap to keep. Hello, Sarah. I thought I might find you here.
Ah, yes.
I'm really looking for a dealer who this might suit. Is there anybody here, do you think?
Let me have a think now. Glennis. I know Glennis would be quite...
Oh, really?
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
All right, I'll follow you.
Okay.
Sounds promising for Kate, but back at the auction house, Mr. Hayes is pulling out all the stops to lure some potential buyers into handing over cash.
The basic interest is anything military?
Yes.
Absolutely, yes. Hang on right there, but just a thing for you two. You've never seen one like this before. I was in Belgium a while ago and I came across this. It's a little Napoleonic ball. If you have a look, it has Napoleon on horseback. You get all the military sort of figures here, the cannons, and then the big crest in the middle there. Can you see?
That's very nice.
Yes, this is excellent. I'm very interested in that.
There you are.
Oh, it looks like he could be onto something. But what of Miss Bliss? She's in the selling zone and doing the introductions.
Okay, who have you got there?
Well, this is Daphne the Dachshund.
Oh.
What do you think of her, Liz?
I think she's lovely.
Yeah, well, she caught my eye because she's very realistically modelled, and she's Italian pottery. I mean, I'll show you the mark on the base here if I turn her
yes,
over.
on her paw.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. It's impressed here on her paw. And I would think she dates from about the 60s, maybe 50s,
I would
60s.
think so, yeah.
I bought her, in fact, in a market in Brussels, or near Brussels in Belgium. I guess it's about life size, isn't she?
It is, yes.
And I just thought she was really nicely done.
She is, yes.
Well, I've come to see you because I'm actually looking to sell her. Do you think
So Kate's laid on the charm and persuasion aplenty, but she needs to get a sale because Paul's potential buyers are warming up a treat.
Looks as though there might be a bit of age to it too.
There certainly is. I think it's actually been made just after one of the battles to commemorate them, so certainly the interest there.
That's fascinating, yes.
Come on, Paul. Strike now. Come on.
All right, I'm looking for about £30.
I think that's a bargain. Thank you very much.
Well, that's really generous. You speak on his behalf, do you?
Absolutely, oh yes, I'm sure we can manage that.
Well, there we go then.
So, after an epic battle of the blondes, slugging it out like heavyweight dealers, how much cash have our experts made, and which blonde has had the most fun? Remember, Paul spent a total of £319.50, whilst Kate blew only about half that, £152.50. All that's left now is for our 2 blondes to get together and find out which of them has made the most profit.
Ah, bonjour, Kate.
How are you? Bonjour.
How are you?
Hey, it was quite an adventure, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'd never been to Brussels before. What a lovely place. I'll certainly go back. But my tummy's been a bit off since, I must admit.
What about your kit, though, that you bought? How did you get on?
I think I did okay, actually. I bought all Napoleon's life history.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You bought all those Napoleon
Yeah,
related
I mean, the
lots.
letter in particular turned out to be quite a good item. And I sold one of the hats.
Yeah. Oh, what about that racing game you bought? I really like that.
Yes, well, I met a lovely gentleman who has a museum of childhood, so he was very interested in that.
Do you remember that model of a dog that I bought, that Dachshund?
Yes, I do.
Well, I've tried all sorts of routes to try and sell that and just came up with a lucky buyer at the last minute, so that was great.
Boxing gloves?
Boxing gloves went really well.
So it sounds like we've made money for charity then?
I hope so, yeah.
All right.
We've both made a bit in the pot.
Moment
okay.
of truth.
Ready?
All right, Kitty.
Ready?
1, 2, 3.
Go. Oh,
you
pretty
beat me.
good.
Well done, £225.50.
357.
That is excellent. Well done for you.
Oh, well done you. That was a close one then.
Yeah, it was. It's harder than it looks though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is much harder than it looks.
Yes. Est-ce que vous voudrez une tasse de thé, madame?
Merci.
Merci beaucoup. Go on then. I think I've just asked for a cup of tea.
England or Belgium, that Paul is always after a cup of tea. But what an incredible victory for our antiques prize fighter, Miss Bliss. And it was Daphne the Dachshund that clinched it. Remember, Kate paid about £10 for her.
Well, I'm looking for about £160.
I would think you're looking at more 150.
That's great, I think, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's lovely.
Wonderful.
What a knockout sale from Miss Bliss, landing a huge £140 profit. It's been a battle of epic proportions, but most importantly, our experts have made a profit, and those profits will be going to a good cause.
Well, I went all the way to Belgium, bought things, came back, sold them all over the place, and managed to make £357 for St Michael's Hospice right in my home county of Herefordshire, on my doorstep.
So I really have put my money where my mouth is, and I've actually come out on top. I've raised £225.50, and that's on its way to children in need.
On tomorrow's final showdown, Absolute Bliss pulls out all the stops.
Can you sell that if I give it to you?
Would you do that, sir, for me?
And Mr Morecambe comes out fighting.
Do you know, I've always wanted to do that. There you go, how's that?
And we find out who is this week's Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is champion.